And now we're at Earthbound Brewing in the Cherokee Lemp District in St. Louis, and this is a wonderful craft brewery that has been built on weird beer. And when I say built, I mean it has grown exponentially and very, very quickly. And so what do you attribute that growth to?
People are really excited about craft beer and sort of the boundary pushing nature of craft beer, and we certainly push a lot of boundaries here and pay a lot of attention to detail.
So explain to the folks watching, what does weird beer actually mean?
My definition of weird beer is we've solidified really staple-based recipes. So we'll take a pale ale or a brown ale and add an interesting adjunct ingredient, and an adjunct in beer is just something in addition to your hops, water, and grain.
There's sort of an ingredient aspect to it where you take a basic beer that's really well made and you add something to it to change it. But there's also this historical or technical aspect to it. So we took a recipe that there's not even a recipe for it. It's the first recorded history of brewing in Bavaria, which was 800 BC, and it was a Celtic king's tomb findings. They found some potsherds that had this residue on them that they attributed to a black wheat beer that was brewed with oak leaves. So we went out and picked a bunch of oak leaves and we steeped a tea with the water overnight, used the tea to brew the beer, and used no hops, and we let it sit with wood chips to simulate oak aging for about 4 months.
And the result?
It's incredible. It was probably one of our most popular beers. We saved 2 kegs of it for our first birthday. It was the first beer we ran out of at our birthday.
And right here we have the Chinese 5-spice porter.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good.
That's really delicious.
Right? Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
So when we made the Chinese 5-spice porter the first time, we were like, wow, this tastes a lot like Café Sudo, the Vietnamese coffee. It's really close, but it's really dry. So we used a little bit of milk sugar, some lactose, which is non-fermentable. Mm-hmm. And so the beer now has this really soft richness to it that's a lot, like almost creamy. It's got this really big mouthfeel. And so it's like a big beer that's got the traditional flavor markers for a Vietnamese coffee.
And this is our red gruit. So we've done about probably 20 gruits at this point. The gruits are beers that don't have any hops in them.
I love this. It has a sour.
Each of those herbs can replace for bittering, usually not as intense as the hops do, but also add their own flavor to it. Rosemary Juniper Rye Pale Ale.
I'm excited to try this one. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the rosemary really stands out the most to me.
It has a gorgeous color.
Yeah,
to
it really does. It comes out a nice amber color.
The Rosemary Juniper Pale Ale is one of my first homebrew recipes from 5-6 years ago. I thought about doing a really big 7% pale ale that we used some rye to give it a nice dry spicy character, and then using rosemary and juniper at the end instead of hops to tie it to kind of form a liaison with the food, but also give it that really nice woody astringent character. So it's a big robust beer that's like huge, it's a big mouthfeel, but then it cleans out really dry because of the juniper. The idea was we were going to open up, we were going to run it for a year, so we knew how to run a brewery, get all the ins and outs figured out, know what the money looked like, and then figure out, do we want to keep running here, do we want to franchise out, do we want to expand, do we want to just close it and walk away, something, we were going to run it for a year. 3 months in, so in February, we were like, okay, we have to expand.
So right now I'm standing in what will be the new Earthbound Brewery. This was the Cherokee Brewery from 1866 to 1899. And behind me, you can see this beautiful barrel vaulting on the ceiling, the original beams. It's really exciting to see that they're bringing this space back to life.
Underneath the ground floor, there are 2 separate basements. They were filled in with construction fill. So we've had a team down there moving literal tons of fill so we can get that cleared out. And that's where we will do our, put our fermenters and do all of our cellar work as well.
So the idea that we're taking over this old space and turning it back into a brewery and a really big tap room and beer garden is exciting because the breweries were always communal meeting spaces. They were sort of, public houses. They were meeting spots for people in the neighborhood. And so we're really hoping that we can bring that back a little bit with a little more space.
This is why everybody loves your beer. That's...
We have the best jobs in the world.
Yes, definitely.